Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's October. I know it's been a while. There's a lot that's been going on behind the scenes in the last few months. The main thing is that I am pregnant. I shared a little bit of an announcement just in shorts a couple of weeks ago. It's been a really long journey to get here. I know some of you have been along with me for the ride. It's been years of trying infertility treatments and IVF, and I have had an incredibly rough first trimester, sickest I've ever been in my whole life. I couldn't get out of bed for weeks. I was so nauseous. I was actually sick like multiple times a day. There's just been a lot going on behind the scenes, and it's only in the last couple of weeks that I'm starting to feel well enough to come back and get into my routines again and get back into work. I had to take sort of an unexpected medical leave, but I am finally feeling better. I am off the IVF meds. I can talk a little bit more about that later if you guys are curious. Yeah, I'm pregnant and baby is coming in March of 2026. I can't even believe I'm saying these words. We're so excited. It still feels surreal some days. Yeah, that's what's going on with me, and that's where I've been, and I have just not been well enough to be here. But I'm so excited to be back, especially because we are getting fully into the swing of holiday releases and end of year stuff. The Sephora sales coming up. I have a lot of beauty to catch up on and review, and I thought we would make our way back, sort of mosey our way back with a full face of makeup today that is at Sephora, because the Sephora sale is coming up. I think the first day of the sale for Rouge and VIB is October 31st, so it's at the end of the month into early November. If I'm totally honest, I have hardly been wearing any makeup the last few months, but in some ways it's given me a good break. It's made me miss my routines. I truly could barely do skincare. I could barely wash my hair. I was so sick. I was losing weight in my first trimester because I couldn't keep any food down. So I have a lot to play with, and I'm actually feeling excited by makeup. This is the new Makeup by Mario foundation, the Surreal Skin Natural Finish foundation. They sent these over to me. I'm actually currently the palest I've ever been because I literally did not have a summer. I was inside the whole season. So these might be a little bit deep for me right now. This is 3.5C, this is 4.5N, and this last one that's running down is 5N. I think I'm gonna have to go in with 3.5C or 4.5N and see if we can make it work. They also sent over a cute little palette, and then they have a new foundation brush. I think it's a new foundation brush. Maybe it came out with their first foundation. Immediately off the bat, I can tell you that this is much more fluid than their other foundation. The other foundation is creamier. Actually, I think I may have this brush, but happy to have another one. I always like their brushes. This is the F1 brush. It's double-sided, so you have a slanted brush for foundation, and then you have a concealer brush on the other side. Couldn't tell you the last time I did a full glam, because even before I got pregnant, we were doing IVF injections, and just, I was not feeling well. I haven't been feeling well basically like this whole year because of IVF. It's kind of like I'm like learning to walk again, basically. So why don't we do a little 3.5 on the palette. Let me do a little 4.5 too. This is 3.5. Oh yeah, that'll work. I'm finding that the paler I get, the more I'm leaning neutral, and I feel like with the Mario foundation shades, they do tend to lean warm. So even though I'm not typically cool or like a pink undertone, in this range, the cool undertone does work for me. I'll show you side by side. So this is 3.5C. and this is 4.5N. I could make 4.5N work too, but I think C will work for me a little bit better. I hope you can see that. Before I go in with foundation, I'm gonna do a little spritz of my Rhode Peptide Glazing Mist, because Rhode is at Sephora now. This is actually a lab sample that I received when I was working on the campaign for them on Instagram, but it is a mist that has longevity in my routine. I love it. It's really great for refreshing skin throughout the day, but it's also a really good skincare step. Super fine mist. This has ectoin, it has squalane, it's great for calming the skin. It's like a richer mist. It really sticks around, it gives you a beautiful glow, I think you can see. And my skin, now that I'm pregnant, is a little bit more sensitive. Like, I think you can see I've been having more redness. I've just been trying to baby it a little bit more. So I'm going to pick this up with the brush off of the palette. I typically do this off the back of my hand, but let's see. Ooh, that's actually a really good match. I think you can already see it's really blurring. and it's giving me, it's very smooth. It has a really nice glide across the skin. I tend to really like fluid foundations because I like to apply sheer layers, and I like with fluid foundations just the flexibility that you get. Compared to their original foundation, this is a more natural finish. The original was called a luminous finish, and it did have a dewier, slightly more emollient feel. It was one that would get shiny on me throughout the day. Like, I would definitely have to set it. This one I can already tell has slightly more blurring properties, but it doesn't feel matte. Like, it doesn't feel dry. It just feels a little bit silkier as opposed to dewier. I really am liking this. It feels so weightless on the skin. It feels like I have nothing on. It just kind of looks like I'm having a great skin day. It's evening over redness. And if I look really close up, it's totally blurring over my pores. Let's see if I can build up some coverage where I have the most redness. It's maybe like a touch pale, but it's a good winter shade for me. I really, really like this. I think you can see it hasn't eliminated like glow. Like, my skin looks like skin. It looks really bouncy. It's blurring. It's very, very smoothing on the skin. And I already like how much more lightweight it feels compared to their original Surreal Skin Luminous, which is really beautiful, has a gorgeous finish, but definitely has more dewiness to it. This, I think, is going to just be better for my skin type, which is a little bit more combo. Next up for concealer, Huda Beauty actually extended their base range. They sent me this really cute makeup kit. Oops. So these aren't new, but they are their color correctors, which I don't think I've ever used. And I know that they did repackage their concealer, which used to be a little bit leaky. They also sent over their new powders. This is what's new. So you know their Easy Bake powders. They've actually released them in duo powders now. So they've taken some of their most popular shades. It's kind of like the old Givenchy powders. I think this was a really smart move to make because a lot of people have recommended this powder since that Givenchy powder got discontinued. So they've kind of created the substitute for that. So there's a lighter shade option and a deeper shade option, which I just showed you. Here they are side by side. So you can see each one has one that's a little bit pinky and then one that's a little bit peachier. I've actually never tried this powder. I always meant to, but it's just one of those things that kind of has eluded me. Here are the correctors. They sent me my shade of the concealer, which is 2.7N Coconut Flakes. This is Pink Pomelo, and then this is Peach. So peach is a little bit deeper. I think I'm gonna go in with these two today. And then Huda actually also has an under eye buff brush. I really like this. It's kind of chubbier than your typical concealer brush, but it's very, very soft and it is angled. I don't think I've ever used a Huda brush. I don't like to apply concealer directly under the eyes. I'm actually gonna take a little bit of the corrector and a little bit of the concealer on the palette and then apply it that way, just so I don't over apply product. This is something I really recommend, especially if you're in your 30s and up. You really don't want to over apply product. I'm going to take the brush. This is the Pink Pomelo shade. Just gonna pick up a tiny, tiny bit and really work it into the brush so it's coating the brush evenly. And I do have a little bit of blueness under the eye, so I'm just going to buff and tap. Let me tell you, pregnancy tired is a different kind of tired. I have never been this kind of tired before, but I'm also having a hard time sleeping because insomnia is also part of the deal. Okay, so I didn't do too much. I just kept it focused on the corners, outer corners as well. Then I'm picking up their concealer, which I've talked about many times in the past before. It really is one of my favorites. It is full coverage, but it looks very skin-like, and you don't need a lot of product to get a lot of coverage in terms of surface area. And that's what I really look for in a concealer. I actually, even though I don't like high coverage things, I like high coverage concealers because I like using as little product as possible to get the desired result. Anyways, that's all to say, I feel like I could use this color corrector combo right now. It's coming at a good time for me. Ooh, that's good. Also very, very smoothing. Like it just kind of blanked out my under eye without looking too bright or too fake. And trust me when I say you do not need a lot of product with this. That's why it's good. You only need a touch at a time. I even have an old tube of this from a couple of years ago. Even though I've used that one so much, there's still so much product left in it. And I'm kind of glad to have a new one just because fresh product. Like look how much is left on my palette. That is the foundation shade I used. That one I didn't touch, but that's the concealer swabs I used. I really didn't use a lot of product to get maximum results. Okay, so let's go into the powder. This is the shade Cherry Peach, which is a combination of Cherry Blossom Cake and Peach Pie in their single shade powders. Great packaging. You get a little turny lid here, so you can actually turn it just to get one shade of the powder if you want. This is brilliant. Or you can turn it halfway to get both, or you can turn it all the way around to close off the powder entirely. This is so smart. I'm just gonna tap out a little bit of both, and I'm going to take a powder puff. They actually sent over this cute little heart-shaped puff. I'm just gonna powder my under eyes. I am going to go in with cheek products in a second, but I just wanna set the under eyes very, very lightly. Oh, it's so smooth. I know this is like not a new formula, but because it's new to me, it's very exciting. And actually it is a slightly brightening shade for me. Like I think you can see right there, especially how it brightened. Wow, great under eye combo. I know a lot of you were sent really, really kind and supportive comments and messages to me on Instagram and DMs and things like that when I talked about my IVF journey. And I just feel like it would be remiss of me to not acknowledge that, especially being here at this part of the journey where I never dared to dream that we would be. And you guys just left the nicest notes and comments on that announcement video. So I just want to say thank you. I know a lot of you guys have been here since the beginning for many years. And the thing about YouTube is it's kind of funny. I feel like YouTube is the most personal platform where we actually spend time together versus short form videos. And so I, in a way, feel like you guys do really know me and have seen the journey, and you guys also leave the nicest comments, which is so sweet. And I do recognize your names like over the years. So yeah, I just wanted to say thank you because those really made my day. A lot of your comments like had me weeping. It's just been really special to get to share this. Okay, for bronzer, I don't have a new bronzer just because we're sort of out of bronzer season and I feel like those new releases have really slowed down. This, however, has been a favorite year-round when I have been wearing makeup. It's the Westman Atelier bronzing drops. These are expensive and they're coming up in the Sephora sale, which is why I wanted to share them with you. One new non-Sephora thing that I am really excited to get into is the new BK Beauty Nikki Rose collab. This is their second collab, and this actually has 8 brushes. I think their original collab had 5. And there's specifically a brush in here that I'm very excited to use. So there's this fan brush, this slanted brush, this powder like fluffy brush, a concealer brush or an eye brush, depending on how you want to use it, and then 4 different eye brushes. I love BK Beauty brushes. I love Nikki. She's just the sweetest person. I really loved their first collab. I actually use their brushes all the time. I have this one on my desk right now. I'm really excited to get into this big boy. This is called the N18, and it's like a really beautiful, sort of denser fan brush. I feel like this will be really good for contour, for bronzer. So I'm just gonna take, this is the lightest shade, by the way, Soleil Parfait 1. I like it because it has the most neutral undertones. So I'm going to just work it into the brush. I took a dot of it on my little palette here. And because I left the outside, like the perimeter of my face unpowdered, I feel like I can just sort of paint it on. And it's making such quick work of bronzing while giving me a really even application. These are synthetic fibers. I don't know how they recommend it, but I use all of my synthetic brushes for liquids or powders. See what I mean? It's just a super natural shade, but it matches me up with my body a little bit better. I love how sheer this formula is. I don't want bronzer to look too opaque. I just want it to look like one with the skin. This formula is really thin. It just kind of looks like really good skincare. Moving on to blush, Merit have come out with their holiday sets. I've actually reviewed these individually in YouTube shorts. They have a lip set and their mini Flush Balm trio. This trio has 2 existing shades and a new shade. I've tried them all on in that short video, which I'll include up here in the corner, but I'll show you the new shade because it is limited edition. It's exclusive to the set. I always love their sets because I think it's a really great way to try the range, and I always like that they include a new shade, and the new shades are always so good. So these are the 3 shades. This is Le Bon Bon, this is Postmodern, and this is the new shade, which is called Redux. It's a warm brownie pink sort of terracotta shade. They do this set every year, or at least I know they did last year and I reviewed it. One thing that I really like that they did this year is they included deeper shades with a bit more pigmentation. If you remember, they extended the shade range earlier this year and included, they doubled the number of shades in the range and included shades with a lot more depth. So these are the swatches. I'm not going to try all of them on because these are not new, but this is Postmodern, this is Le Bon Bon, and this is the new shade Redux, which you can see has that warmer terracotta feel to it. This is the mini. It's actually a really good size, I think, and I always like to pick these up with a brush and then apply to my cheeks. So this is that shade Redux. It's a little bit warmer. It has more of a terracotta. If you've never tried these, they are thin and they're dewy. If you're super oily, these may not be for you, but I find, especially the more I get into my 30s and the more normal my skin is getting, I'm still combo, but the more normal I'm getting overall, the more I'm appreciating this formula because it does have that bit of hydration and that dewiness that it leaves on the skin. It's not a shade that really truly sets down, but it's very thin, so you don't feel it across the face. It doesn't feel sticky, but it's also not going to set down to a matte kind of finish. Gives you kind of that sun-kissed look, and I feel like this is actually the perfect kind of shade to bring across the nose as well, if you're into that sort of vibe. And really, this is just a sheer layer. I'm just gonna blend it into my bronzer. You can definitely build this up for more pigment, I think, if you have a deeper skin tone than I do. And if you want more longevity out of this formula, you need setting spray, just saying. However, I do love these, and like I said, they've grown on me more over the years. I think it's a really nice way to try the range, and they're just so cute. The set itself is so giftable. It's kind of like an ornament situation. Yeah, I've gifted these many, many times. Okay, let's get into what I'm actually most excited about, which is the new Makeup by Mario limited edition Ethereal Eyes palette in the colorway called Nature. So they sent this over. They have their brown and black mascaras, their brown eyeliner and bronze eyeliner, and of course the star of the show, the Ethereal Eyes palette in Nature, which is so stunning. I missed out on the very, very first edition of the Ethereal Eyes palette that they did, that first holiday palette that they brought out. Because I don't have that, I can't share comparison swatches or anything, but I am very familiar with the Makeup by Mario eyeshadow palette formula. I think it's absolutely stunning. It's really easy to work with. They're some of my most reached for palettes. I actually really love how neutral these shades are. It leans a little bit warmer, but I love green. If I am going to wear a pop of color, I love green. So I'll pop in some swatches here just so you can see what they really look like. The thing about the Makeup by Mario mattes is that they are dry. They're really firmly pressed, but that makes them really easy to work with. You can't over apply. You can build them up really nicely. And the shimmers are so refined. I love the fine particles of mica in here. It gives you a really twinkly galaxy eye sort of look, and it almost looks wet across the eyelids. I also love how unique this is from last year's palette, which was very cool toned. It was very silvery. There was a pop of blue. This is a little bit more of an everyday palette with glam options. I feel like last year's palette was a little bit more drama. There's so many directions I want to take this in. I think I definitely want to try the green. So let's just start laying down a little bit of a base. I'm going to go into these 2 matte shades. Taking a Rephr 07 and just kind of sculpting. You guys, I haven't worn eyeshadow, real eyeshadow, I think all year. I also don't think I've added an eyeshadow palette to my collection all year, maybe since their last holiday palette. I know eyeshadow is just like not really the trending thing right now. It's all about cheeks. However, when it comes to holiday, I do like to splurge on an eyeshadow palette. I especially like it if it's one that I'm gonna get year-round use out of, like this one. I feel like this quadrant has some nice camely tones. These are a little bit more like mauve-y undertone nudes, so you can take it in a couple of different directions. Okay, I'm just kind of creating a bit of a shadow, lifting the eye, and connected it to the under eye here. Let's just go right into the shade I really want to use, which is this stunning green. I think you can just see how dimensional that is and how there's a slight bit of a shift to it as well. So I'm going to just bring that, smudge it everywhere. This is just how I wear eyeshadow these days. I don't get into overly complicated looks. Oh, this is so stunning. There's a gold mica running through this, but it also has a little bit of a grunge, which I love. Honestly, that's how I would wear it. I would just smudge it out. I feel like this shade actually has a little bit more creaminess than I remember last year's palette having. I'm not getting any fallout, even though I'm just smearing this on with my fingers. I'm going to go into the shade above that, which is kind of this like taupey, it's a really interesting shade. It has a green undertone, but it's like a taupey moss. Just going to tap that into the outer corners to add some depth. It very much goes along with the nature theme of this palette. And then for a little bit of a twinkle, I'm going to go into this shade and this shade, just mixing them together for a little brightness in the inner corner. And then this shade is not a true shimmer shade. It's like a matte with a little bit of a sheen running through it. But I am going to use it just to brighten up the inner corner and add a little bit of lightness there. Honestly, any of these shimmer shades would look stunning just smeared all over the lid the way I did here. I love an eyeshadow palette that's easy to use, that you don't have to think too hard about. These are neutrals that look great on their own. So if you were to travel with this and you just wanted some, you know, contour or shadow in your eye for daytime, you could easily do that. I'm actually just gonna blend out the edges here. But I really love that you can take this in a warmer camely tone or a pinkier tone. And I feel like it's gonna look flattering on a lot of different skin tones. The thing about these mattes too is they're a little bit deeper than they appear in the pan. So this one I was able to build up quite a lot. I didn't even go into the deep one. I won't lie to you, I have not worn mascara since like April, I think. But I'm dressing up for you guys today, so let's see how this goes. I feel really out of practice. I'm just using my Shiseido lash curler, and why don't we go in with the Makeup by Mario mascara, because I have it in my to test pile, but I never got around to it when they released it. I always have to go in, you guys know, with my ink mascara fixer just to prime my lashes. And here is what the mascara looks like. This actually kind of reminds me of the YSL packaging because it's so chubby, but the applicator is a brush, but it's like a cone shape. So I like that you can use that to get into the inner corners. Let's see how this goes. Oh, it's kind of a drier formula, which is my preference. I really don't like when mascaras are too wet. And it's giving me volume and separation. It's also giving me length. I kind of forgot what I look like with mascara. It feels very dramatic. It dropped my curl a little bit, but I like how dark the formula is, and it does definitely give you volume. It also feels really buildable. This turned into a very Makeup by Mario heavy video. I didn't plan it that way. They've just had a lot of new launches, and they are one of my favorite brands at Sephora, so you know, I had to catch up. I think I'm gonna have to play with this a few more times just to see how the mascara applies over a few different applications, because I am so out of practice. This side is holding a curl a little bit better than this side, but it's definitely giving me some drama. And I feel like if you are blessed with more lashes than I am already, which most people are, you would get some real definition out of this. This is what the mascara looks like. My brows have a life of their own right now, but I'm just kind of leaning into it. I've still been on my Lawless brow wax, creamy brow wax, That's kind of all I want and need right now. I'm not into a super defined or super shaped brow. I kind of like my natural shape. There is something about not wearing makeup for a long period of time where you kind of just get used to your face without makeup. And there's been something liberating about that. And it's also allowed me to maybe come back to wearing makeup with fresh eyes. I think for the lips, I want to keep it fresh. I did review the Merit lip kit in a dedicated review. However, that one leans a little bit cooler toned, and I kind of just want something sheer and glossy. So Farah Hamidi just came out with their Soft Glass Plumping Lip Oil. It's very bougie, as Farah Hamidi is, but I just really love the brand. And the packaging is absolutely stunning. It's this weighted glass tube, and it has their blue logo, and it's like a chubby doe foot applicator, and it's definitely like a thicker formula. It has a lot of body to it. Their lip pencil is not new, but I am going to pair it with their lip pencil. You guys know, what's that one shade? Dew, I think, D-O-U-X. That's my favorite shade out of this range. They just sent over the shade Minky, which is, I think, still in the nudie category, but a little bit more of like a brown, which I think will go nicely with the eyes. If you haven't tried this lip pencil, it's so good. It's a true wood pencil. It reminds me a lot of the Victoria Beckham Beauty pencils. It has a real staying power. The tones are just very sophisticated. They're a little bit more unique than your typical nude lip liners. Just love this tone. I feel like it brings a lot of life to the face without leaning into being orange, which I feel like some warm lip liner tones can do. And then this is the shade Pomme. And I think there are a couple more shades of this, but it's kind of just like a clear pinky gloss. I did line the lips and create a little bit of a blur. So just applying this to the center of the lip. It has a coconut scent to it, which is really lovely. It is a plumping lip oil, so it does have a little bit of mintiness, but it's not burning my lips. It doesn't feel painful. I don't really like that feeling. And by the way, the lip liner does come with a sharpener, and then this does come with a little case. Which I know I'll get dirty or lose immediately, but it is one of those things. It's a high-end luxury brand, so you kind of look for that luxury packaging. But this is what it looks like. I feel like it does make my lips look and feel fuller, but because it's a lip oil, it's not sticky. I'm not getting like stringy lips, which is really nice. Okay, so this is the finished look. Haven't seen myself with this much makeup on in so long. I kind of don't recognize myself. I feel like I need to go do something tonight. Okay, so let's recap everything because I know that was a lot of stuff. This foundation is really impressing me. I feel like the skin just looks so smooth. It doesn't look like I have a lot of makeup on, and 3.5C was a really good match for me right now. And I actually don't have a lot of pale shades just because I am the palest I've ever been. Love how fluid this is. Love how little product I needed to use. I would say my whole face was less than half a pump, and it just looks smooth. It looks blurred while still looking like real skin. The Huda products, these are not new, but I really love the coverage that they gave me while still looking natural. Big fan of this powder. Off camera, I just took a little bit and powdered around some extra shiny spots, and it's giving me such a blurred look without looking overly matte. I feel like it's very silky without being dry or cakey. It is so refined and such a smooth powder that you don't need a lot either. The two shades in this is so brilliant. I think it was a really smart move of them to do this. And I feel like this tone is so nice. Like if you want more brightening, you can go for the pink. If you want more skin tone, you can go here. Packaging is very clean, which we love. This was not new, but you know I love it. The Merit Blush Trio. I love this shade. I think it's flattering on a lot of different skin tones. It looks really good as a cohesive look. Again, it's a really good gift to give. I feel like Merit is a makeup brand that so many age ranges enjoy, whether you're a teenager, you're more mature. My mom loves it. My sisters-in-law love it. I have nieces that like it. So I think it's just something that appeals to everybody. This eyeshadow palette, it actually actually just arrived at my door before I was filming this, and I'm so glad it did. It's just such a me palette because I don't wear a lot of color in my day-to-day, but if I do, I like a pop of green. I love the neutral tones in here, and it is a holiday palette, but it's a palette that you're gonna use year-round. And it's a palette that can look very natural, just with the mattes, or you can dress up if you want. So if you are an eyeshadow palette person, or if you're gifting, I think this is a really, really stunning gift. And it's the kind of eyeshadow palette that's going to get a lot of mileage in your makeup wardrobe if you are someone that enjoys eyeshadow. The one thing that I'm going to have to keep testing is the mascara. I did really like it, but it dropped a curl a little bit for me, and I feel like mascaras take a little bit of time to really get to know anyway. So I'll have to report back on this. And then finally, the Farah Hamidi stuff, their lip liner. I still think of these two, the lip liner is the standout product, but that's not new to me. The lip oil is absolutely fabulous. It's stunning. It's what you expect from a luxury product. Like, it is so weighty. And I think if you're looking for a really luxurious, beautiful gift for a luxury beauty lover in your life, this is a great thing to gift because everyone can use something like this. It's not a must-have, nor is any luxury beauty, really, but it is a treat, and it's the kind of thing that feels special in a handbag. I feel like it's the kind of thing that like my mom would love to have in her handbag, especially because it comes in this like gorgeous packaging, and packaging doesn't always matter, but this is the time of year where we like those extra touches for gifting. So yeah, I think this is a really, really stunning gift. I'm actually curious to see what other shades they have in this range. And I think that's it. I know we covered a lot of ground. Sorry if this video was a million years long. I'm obviously out of practice, but I'm just so happy to be back. I think I was putting a lot of pressure on myself to make some perfect announcement video and to make some big thing, but really I'm just trying to live my life, and I've been just trying to survive the last few months, and I was so not myself. My mental health was not doing good. Even after we got good news, I was just feeling so sick. I was doing IVF shots in the bum every day for 64 days on top of already feeling sick. So I'm just really happy to be alive and to be here and to be having a healthy pregnancy. I just want to say thank you for being here. I consider it a real privilege to live a long life alongside you guys, to be able to share some of my life with you. And it really means a lot to me that you're here and that you spend time watching my videos. So thank you so much. There's a lot coming up, so stay tuned, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.